Is a midlife crisis real or something men just make up? A new 60 Minutes Vanity Fair poll has some answers for you. Best-selling author Jennifer Weiner is famous for her chick lit books. She's here along with John Tierney. He's a columnist for the New York Times. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, John, because it says 6 out of 10 Americans say a married man having a midlife crisis is just an excuse for bad behavior. So for purposes of this conversation, let's define what a midlife crisis is. I always thought it was a hot car and a hot bubble brain girl and you're a married man, so you're a cheater, pumpkin eater on top of all of that. What's your definition of
It's exactly that.
That's the official definition, in fact.
That's it.
I mean, throw in the earring that Harrison Ford wore after he dumped his wife and took up with the girlfriend, or the tattoo that Kelsey Grammer put of his new, younger wife after he did it. So that's a great definition. And it's funny that the readers or the poll respondents pretty much agree with what psychologists say about it. Psychologists are really skeptical about it because, sure, some middle-aged people have crises, but so do young people, so do old people, and most middle-aged people don't have crises. So
there's no science that supports it.
There's a little bit, but I mean, most people don't seem to really. I mean, the reason what happens is that we see these guys like Harrison Ford and Kelsey Grammer, and we think that but it's not that there's some irresistible biological urging for them.
So why does George Clooney keep dumping women? Can we? I mean, really? Like,
well, that
what's
could
going
be
on
true,
there?
but that's been pre-midlife though.
He's
hasn't
only
it?
loyal to the pot-bellied pig, and I'm really getting worried about George. And honestly, with the midlife crisis thing, I worry about the economics of it because if there is no midlife crisis, what happens to the Corvette dealer? What happens to the Axe body wash guys and the back waxers and the front waxers and the erection pill people? Like, where do they all go? What do they do?
But nobody thinks George is having a midlife crisis. Or
No,
even Harrison Ford. I don't think they think those guys are having.
But let me tell you, if Jennifer Aniston were to break up with Justin, it would be, oh, poor Jen. And she hasn't had a hit in so long. And will she ever find love? And it's interesting to me that we don't talk about the guys that way. It's like George is just on to the next one.
Right. And it's go George almost.
And it's yay. Yeah. He's a hero, whereas Jennifer Aniston seems to be this sort of tragic figure who just can't get it together. And it's interesting.
But actually, it's women who do two-thirds of the divorces. So, I mean, the popular stereotype's kind of wrong. I mean, the women are having more of the crises, maybe.
There are so women initiate the divorce?
Well, two-thirds of divorces, I think, are initiated by women. So,
Yeah, but it's all the guy's fault.
Well, of course.
Always.
Exactly. Somebody's got to take care of that. This is such an interesting poll. I know wives at home right now are hitting the DVR button so they can show this episode to their husband later. But anyway, the poll also found women in committed relationships were asked what they could change about their man. 29% would change his temper. 9% would change his mother. 8%
that you just gotta wait.
Yeah. 8% said his sense of humor. 7% would change his physique, and 2% think his hygiene stakes. I mean, do any of these numbers surprise you?
I'm really struck by the physique because that explains this mystery of why do men feel better about their bodies than women feel about their bodies. Because, I mean, 75% of American men are overweight, so why aren't they bothered? And I think you see why, because their girlfriends and their wives don't put that high a priority on it.
No, and they're sitting there, John, with those Buddha bellies thinking that they look really okay.
But as long as they keep their temper,
as
long as they keep their temper, they can keep their beer belly. I think that's really it.
And the 2% who are sad about the hygiene, my heart just goes out to you ladies who can't get your men to bathe. Like, what's going on with that? It's like, okay, bad temper, I get that. Maybe not so funny, I get that. But like, Dial soap is cheap. Yeah.
It's a difficult skill, though, really.
And you wonder if they didn't consider all these things before they got into the relationship in the first place.
Well, that's interesting too. Like, did he just start stinking after, like, fish? He smelled okay for the first little while, and then it just all went south. Like, what happened?
Because hygiene is something you can control.
Absolutely.
I like this one too. 7 out of 10 Americans believe a mother has a lot of control in the process of trying to make her son the perfect man. What do you say about that, Jennifer?
I want to say one thing first.
Okay.
This whole concept of the perfect man just bugs me.
Oh.
I've always thought of you that way.
Thanks.
Because you are. But no, I, as a mother, not of sons, but like, I just feel like my kids were sort of born who they were, and I just did not have that much to do with it. Like, they just popped out with their little personalities and quirks and sensibilities. And so I don't know how much you can blame on the mother if the guy is stinky or unfunny or mean.
But I think she has a big influence. I think a
mother
mom.
does.
I do. I think a mom has a big influence on her daughters and certainly her sons in particular.
Well,
their
you can
outlook on
model,
women.
yes, how a woman should be treated,
Yes.
you know, and if a mom works and a son sees that, it's important, you know, when his wife works. I agree. Yeah.
Well, she can
Where do you
develop
range, John?
self-control. I mean, most of the qualities that we see in that poll, what they want women to men to control their temper, to be educated,
Right.
hardworking, a gentleman. That all involves, parents instilling self-control.
Well, I think parents can get involved in, and you talk about being mean. I think you can certainly influence that in
And
your
you can
kid.
certainly screw up a kid. I mean, actually, parents have more power to screw up
Yes.
kids, to make an
Than make them
imperfect
better.
man, than to make a perfect
Absolutely.
man.
Well, I think when you try to make a perfect person, you're sort of bound to screw them up.
Yeah.
All right, John, 23% of Americans think 40 is a good age to determine whether a man has been successful. Too young, 40, to judge whether someone's been successful or not?
I think 40 is a good age, or even 30 if you're thinking about who you want to marry and settle down with. But I think, for men, it's nicer to think that, that the back nine, you have some possibilities there. We all love the idea of redemption. So I kind of like the answer on your deathbed.
The back wax 9. No, but it's interesting because you think of like the guys who founded Facebook and Google, and they're all 12.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, shouldn't we be sort of checking in at 20? Like, where's your company and your bazillion dollars, son?
So if he's 40 living at home with mom, that's not a good thing.
I think that's not.
But if he's educated
I've
and
met
can
someone like
control
that.
She has
his
not
temper
created a
and-
perfect man.
That's right.
All right. Anthony,
You talked. Let's just hit on this briefly. You talked about the most important thing for a young man is to be well educated. That's what women said that they wanted.
That was
honesty.
fascinating
Yeah,
to me.
that
'cause,
surprised
like,
me.
Women say they want a lot of things.
well,
Yes, we do.
we want it all, and we all can't have you. But I mean, the educated thing was interesting to me because there was this huge uproar at my alma mater at Princeton when a woman wrote a letter to the editor
Yes.
saying, undergraduate ladies, lock in on your man before you get your diploma because
Remember
once
that.
they're out in the world, they will gravitate toward the dumb pretty girls and you'll be SOL. So you gotta like lock in because, get a smart guy now. And I'm just sort of thinking, God, really?
Yeah.
Like,
Really, Jen, we got to leave it there, guys.
All right,
Jennifer
we're
Weiner,
done.
John Tierney, thanks so much for being with us this morning.